Now, every day in Nigeria, tales of banditry, kidnapping, terror attacks in the northeast, and other security issues are splashed on the pages of newspapers. Insecurity has now become the major talking point on various platforms, with some apportioning blame and others proffering solution. But despite the country's effort and funds spent to tackle insecurity, the storm has failed to calm. Nigeria's Minister of Defense, Major General Salihi Magashi, has raised the alarm that Nigeria was in a critical situation following resurgence and incessant attacks by terrorists, bandits, and other criminal groups across the nation. He is calling for the support and collaboration of the public as well as critical stakeholders in the national task of securing the country. Joining me is security consultant Darlington Umoru. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Well, my pleasure.
You said, well, it seems you have some reservation with the call made by, or what's your reservation?
We're sounding like broken records.
Right.
We're sounding like broken record. Every day we're saying the same thing.
In different ways.
Not even different ways. We're saying it the same way. There's nothing difficult to understand in what they're saying. It's okay. He's the Minister of Defense. What he has said is...
it's okay for him to raise the alarm?
It's okay for him to raise the alarm.
Why so?
Because he's the Minister of Defense.
But he is saddled with the responsibility to address these issues.
Well, he has just told you, but there's something we're missing out. He made a very valid point. And what is that point he made? I often say that security is every man's business.
Absolutely.
He has reminded us, he has told us that security should not be limited to the men who wear the uniform alone.
But the government trusted these persons to be able to deliver. That is why they were placed in those key
How would
positions.
they deliver? They are no angels. They are human beings like you and I.
Absolutely.
Even the soldiers who are fighting the battle, who are fighting bandits and the terrorists, they are human beings like you.
Definitely.
We're talking about intelligence here. Wars are 50% fought or won when you have absolute intelligence report. And how do you gather this intelligence report? The man who is carrying the firearm to tackle these other persons, the man who is gathering the intelligence and giving to these persons, how do you think they work? Forgive me, please.
No, please go ahead.
But you know, some things happen in the studio sometimes that, you know, that I want to...
It's just part of
it.
Flow.
Yes, yeah. It makes it more beautiful. Now, what I'm saying is this, my sister. If you must fight bandits, you need information. And this information, you must get from everybody who is concerned and who is in that vicinity. Everybody has said, not one person should be left out. And now, what is intelligence? I often taught this. Intelligence, people misunderstand. Intelligence simply means information plus analysis. What do you do with the information you gather? How do you interpret the images you got?
Those two different things make this intelligence.
Yes. Now, something is happening somewhere. TVC was not there when it happened. How do you get the information? You talk to eyewitnesses, right? And then they narrate the issue to you the way it happened, the way they saw it. Of course, if you put 6 in front of 2 persons, opposite, it will mean 6 to one, it will mean 9 to the other. I don't know if you understood that. Now, what he has simply said, people are definitely afraid of giving away information. Don't forget that recently, the farmers who were slaughtered in Borno, about 40-something of them.
More than that.
Boko Haram said they gave information about them to the security.
Right.
That was why they were slaughtered by the same Boko Haramists. Now, The danger in people not wanting to give information is where the challenge really lies now.
So having to ensure that people trust the security agencies, that despite giving them this information, their lives are not in danger. That is what the issue is.
Yes, you're right. Beyond giving them information, beyond volunteering information to the security agencies that needs them to work with, who again is among the security agents that will give away those people, the informants who passed on the information to the security agents? That was exactly what happened in the case of Boko Haram. Apparently, somebody leaked the information to Boko Haram to say that you were giving away, and don't forget that at that time the soldiers slaughtered them. The soldiers dealt with them massively, and in retaliation, apparently they would have gotten the information from an insider that the information about you guys were given away by the farmers.
So there are bad eggs within
that
needs to be flushed out.
Yes,
invariably, that's what you're saying.
Even Jonathan made that confession. I want to draw your mind back to when Jonathan said that even his administration had been infiltrated by the Boko Haramists, which meant that within his cabinet, whether the kitchen cabinet or the normal one, or whoever was there when they take such decisions, was giving information to them. Again, take to mind what the man who kidnapped the 27 children in Niger State said. The audio he released to Gumi, where he said that the man who gave him the business was with them in the town, and all security arrangements they were putting in place, he gets it firsthand, and that there was no way they were going to arrest him.
How do we tackle this issue? Because this is critical. If all of us, all hands must be on deck, then we need to know how to block the loopholes, how to ensure that this information, we can build trust, basically, and ensure that lives are secured in the process. How do we do this?
Now, two ways they gather information, first off. Two ways they gather information. One, you have informants. Two, you have the undercover. Now, the first thing you must guarantee these two persons, when I use persons here now, I'm using them to represent teams. The first thing you guarantee them is not just safety, but protection. And then you must guarantee them that whatever information they gave, you will not give them away. We often have that. And then that is how you can build trust. Now, there's so much fear out there giving out information about these people, because they know that giving them information, meaning that they are going to commit suicide. It's suicidal now to give out information to the security agents, which we all need to do if we really want to counter or conquer the bandits or Boko Haram. The security agents themselves must be ready to guarantee all of that. That one, give us information, you'll be protected. Give us do you know that beyond giving out information, and when some of these persons are arrested, you also need persons who will stand in court as witnesses against them. Who is ready to do that? Who will be ready to go to court to stand against a bandit or a terrorist, to stand as a witness against them? Until these security agents themselves build this courage and trust, it will be difficult to achieve what the defense minister has just demanded. It will be very, very difficult. That's one. Two, we should be able to fish out the sponsors of these persons.
We've been talking about this issue of sponsors for years now. Is it so difficult to find, to track, trace? We have had the BVN, we have had everything we say we are trying to ensure that this data is used to track those, who are moving monies and supporting these persons. But we haven't seen anything. We haven't seen anything.
We haven't really seen anything. I agree with you, I submit to that. Why would I say that? Now, there was an instance where 3 persons were arrested in UAE, United Arab Emirates, for sending monies to Boko Haram in Nigeria. Now, those 3 persons were arrested there. I think in Abu Dhabi, they were arrested there, prosecuted. I think 2 were sentenced to death or life imprisonment. I can't remember precisely now. But 3 of them one was given 10-year imprisonment. Somebody actually received that money in Nigeria. on behalf of the Boko Haramists. Where's that man? Where's the man? Where's the man?
That's the big question.
Now, to support what you just said, until we are able to achieve all of it, if in foreign land, some persons were arrested for pushing money down to terrorists in Nigeria, and somebody, apparently not an angel, not a spirit, received that money on behalf of the terrorists.
Through an institution.
My dear sister, until we are able, one, to cut the tree right from the base and not from the top, we will be sounding like broken record every day. The government will be sounding like broken record. See, Mr. President means well for this country. But Mr. President cannot be in the field to do the job.
Right.
He will have to delegate responsibilities to persons who will carry them out, and then he expects to get reports. Now, the defense minister, perhaps, maybe I should just tell you one or two things about his roles. The defense minister is actually the one the chief of defense reports to administratively. And all the chiefs, chief of army staff, chief of air staff, chief of naval staff, they also report to the chief of defense staff,
right,
who administratively is controlled by the chief of the minister of defense. Now, the programs of all the chiefs are expected to be designed by the chief of defense staff. And then both the chief of defense staff and the chief of the minister of defense, they report to Mr. President. Do you understand the chain now?
Right.
Now, which meant that for operations that will be carried out, it meant that there will be synergy amongst these 5 persons. The 3 chiefs, the chief of defense staff, the minister of defense, and then Mr. President, NSA. Of course, the other security agencies report to the NSA. So, if you want to really look at it by that lineage, the way they work and the way the operations are supposed to. Now, the way all of this banditry thing, terrorism we're talking about, this person sits down to design and map out how it should go. Again, don't forget that recently, the NSA cried out to Nigerians to say that the weapons supposedly bought with billions of Nigerian money by the outgone chiefs were not seen by these new chiefs.
But then it is being said that his words were misconstrued. That's the statement we got afterwards.
What is different in what we have been having here is for you to make a statement and then you are called behind to say, oh, boy, you shouldn't have made that statement public. Of course, he defended himself by saying that he is not saying that the money has been swallowed by corruption completely. Perhaps they were on their way to the country. And then his words were misconstrued. Indeed. Is it the first time we're having it?
Now that we are saying, because and if you look at the papers this morning, which one, the Nation newspaper precisely, and former ex-military chief is saying that troops lack proper arms to fight, and he pointed that out, and he said that the president has done his best by approving huge sums of money for the purchase of weapons, but weapons were not bought. Weapons are not seen, and so we keep having this military men at the forefront using obsolete weapons, not being able to deliver. When are we going to begin to demand accountability? When are we going to begin to ask questions? Because if you look at another report recently by the Institute of Economics and Peace on economic value of peace, it says that Nigeria is losing about 50 trillion naira. That's about at 380 naira to $1. If we keep losing this money, in 10 years we've spent so much, yet we are not getting result. And we are not asking questions. Where do we think we are headed?
Well, Sometimes when I hear these statements, they make me either smile or laugh. Precisely, what's the difference between what he has said and what I told you?
Yeah, that's the difference, just to allude to
between what he said now about the weapons, and I said, and I also told you that Mr. President is doing his best. I want to draw your attention to the fact that for every year, money is budgeted for the purchase of weapons.
That is why I was asking, why are we not demanding accountability?
But the NSA did make a statement publicly to say that the weapons supposedly bought with billions of dollars, as approved by Mr. President, to fight insurgency and banditry, were not seen. The new chief said they have not seen weapons to work with. And the game behind is coming back to tell us another story. What is this retired officer telling us? Precisely the same story. Mr. President does his best every year to ensure that huge sums of money are approved and are released for the purchase of weapons. How do you prosecute your fight against men who are carrying sophisticated weapons? You put the soldiers there, it becomes almost suicidal for them to fight against these persons. And yet, Mr. President, to him, he has done his best by ensuring that the money demanded to purchase these weapons are approved. Yes. And then they go to the hands of some persons who are meant to buy it. That's why the NSA made that statement, and then it's coming back to tell us a different story. Where are the weapons? Since 2014 or thereabout, where are the weapons that monies haven't been approved for? We saw the stories of former chiefs who were prosecuted for corruption. And then yet you put men, brilliant men who will go to UN operations, brilliant men who will go to ECOWAS operations, brilliant men who will go to EU operations, and they come out with medals. They come out with medals, Nigerian soldiers, they come back with medals as one of the best because they found themselves in a system and then with the right equipment. With the right equipment to prosecute, they have the knowledge, they have the intelligence. But can they fight with sticks? Why is the NSA haven't told Nigerians the truth, wanting to swallow back his words? These are the truth. Now, these are things you will see physically.
Is this why we cannot address this issue of corruption to the latter? Because we have a fight on our hands. And everybody is raising the alarm that something has to be done. Yet we still keep talking about these same issues.
My dear sister, sometimes, oh no. See, security matter is deeper than something sometimes people talk about. But the issue is, if you have the right persons in place and you have the right equipment, when I'm talking about equipment now, I'm talking about the firearms, the small arms, and the light weapons. I'm also talking about the personnel. And then I'm also talking about unmanned aerial vehicles, the UAVs. And then I'm also talking about the manned vehicles, manned aerial vehicles, with which you gather all of. If you put all of these together, you will achieve the best of results you want. But what is ensuring that we don't achieve all of that? One, some persons are involved on the other side, on the side of the terrorists and the bandits who are feeding them with information. Those people should be fished out. Some persons are there sponsoring them from what we have gathered. I gave you an example of the audio released by the man who kidnapped the 27 children in Niger State.
Yeah.
The governor of Zamfara State, on the day those children, 279 children, were released, he made a statement in the course of addressing them. Part of what he said was that if he releases or if he tells Nigerians the names of those, releases the names of those who are behind bandits or banditry, that some of us will be shocked. What is wrong in him saying it? As the #1 citizen of that state. Now, Mr. President has challenged all of them as governors of their states. He has challenged them to ensure that they must contribute, they must give quality information in terms of security in their states. and how to get at these people. Who is hiding what? If anybody knows anything, they should say it. How do you work?
So if they're not saying it, how can all hands be on deck? How can even the citizens who are also, their subjects ensure that they give this information? If a governor is refusing to speak, like you have pointed out.
That is what he said. It was part of the statement. And then don't forget that even when Mr. President declared, took certain decisions over Zamfara, he also protested. The stopping of gold mining in Zamfara State.
Yes.
Whether legal or illegal. And then the no-fly zone, he declared over Zamfara State. And then shortly after Mr. President, through the NSA, made those declarations, what did we have? We heard that a soldier and his girlfriend were arrested, who were allegedly supplying uniforms and ammunition, perhaps, to the bandits. Now, banditry started from where? Zamfara State.
Yes.
Through what? Through the illegal gold mining process by the illegal miners. And we even had foreigners who were a party to those illegal mining business in Zamfara State. What we cannot do in their countries, it is done here because they have backings. Who are the illegal miners in Zamfara State? Can an ordinary man become an illegal miner? Is the governor saying he does not know them? So as the governor told us what he knows, what he said in defining what the pronouncement he made, my dear sister, I just think that of all Mr. President is doing to protect the individuals, understand it, please. He has to work with persons, and he has been working with persons. Monies have to be released to persons. But all of this, the end result, do we have it?
We don't.
The soldiers that are fighting this battle, day and night, not under any shelter, what is their remuneration? What is the allowances given to them? Those of them who have died in the course of fighting for this country, what has happened to their families? How much is given to them? Not just the military now. What about the police? Those who die in active service. How are they encouraged? Those of them, we had reports recently of how many of them resigning, running away. Of course, the procedure, the process of resigning from the military is not like when you want to eat moi. At the end of the day, they are declared AWOL, absent without leave. Isn't it? It's a crime in the military. But why are they discouraged? They signed from day one. But they found themselves in a predicament. Forgive my choice of a word now. Because they are there, the monies Mr. President is pushing out on an annual basis for the procurement of weapons. What are the weapons? Precisely what he has told us, precisely what the NSA said. I think that at least if you bought weapons from manufacturers,
there should be a timeline for its delivery.
God bless you. It's like you're in my heart. It's like you're inside my heart. I hope your husband is not listening. Because it's like that's exactly what it is.
Right.
Between the date of purchase and delivery, there's a timeline. It's not forever. It's not forever. So I think the chiefs should be called upon to come and explain. Give us the documents. The new chief of defense staff should collect those documents and see what countries' equipment were purchased from and when they are supposed to arrive.
And follow up on it, perhaps.
Yes, if any. And then come back to tell us. Although it's not everything you tell, it's not everything you make public when it comes to security matters. I must also consider that. But even so, within the internal arrangements, from the shout at the end, do you know what it means for an NSA to come out to begin to speak? Up until recently, he was not talking.
Yes.
Up until recently, he was not talking, but for him to start talking, it meant that maybe something there somewhere that we are not seeing, that we need to know. Our soldiers are the best in the world. I beat my chest to say it anywhere, whether in this country or outside this country. I said it in Russia. I said it in Russia. Our soldiers are the best in the world. Just give them the right condition to work. Give them the right equipment. They will deliver. But you are pushing them into an empty drum. And then you want them to fill the drum with water. With what now? With a teaspoon?
That's not possible.
I think Mr. President has done well, but beyond that, he should really dig into what the NSA said. And then find out if this person needs to be called back. Call them back. Tell them to come and account for the money you give to them.
Ambassadors now.
Yes. Bring them back to come and account. Are they covered by immunity?
Right.
There's no immunity covering them. Tell them to come and answer. Give us the documentations. Let the new chief of defense have those documents. And then by that, I think we should be able to know precisely what the story is. But thank God, before you end the program.
Quickly, because of time.
I did say here twice that the bandits have been targeting unity schools. And that what has the government been doing to secure these schools? Good enough ahead now that the police has started making arrangements to protect all the schools.
Right.
Kudos. It means they are listening to TVC.
All right, security consultant, so much, Darlington Omori, so much has been said, and we only hope that the president begins to dig deeper, like you have rightly pointed out. Thank you so much for your time on the program.
My pleasure.